I'm Ankur Shree and section A roll number 220, and in this video I'll try to explain my understanding of principles of management course. I'll use a bottom-up approach for this. I will take this mod's question paper and try to solve that in this particular video. So starting with the third number question, division of labor. So first of all, in order to understand division of labor, what an organization is, well, there are formal definition of organization, but we can think of an organization as a collection of several jobs. So an organization basically can be described as collection of several jobs, all these jobs working together, forming the organization. So each job can further be broken down into further tasks, which are called tasks. So division of labor is kind of mapping those jobs to the labors. So it's like we make the particular mapping, or rather we say we divide the labor on basis of the job which the organization has. The second concept comes up, the departmentation. In departmentation, what we do, we segregate, or we either collect similar looking job and create a department out of it. For example, the finance department. Now, it contains all such jobs which are dealing in the financial domain. Similar can be marketing job and IT and so on. The third thing which comes up is coordination. So now, if we are having division of labor, what does division of labor gives up is that a particular worker working on a particular job, so it leads to specialization. Now the point is, to form the to achieve the organizational goal, we need to integrate, we need to kind of sum up the various effort by the various workers. Now this is where coordination comes into picture, which is considered to be the job of a supervisor or a manager for that matter. So what actually happens here in the concept of coordination is that various jobs are coordinated to achieve the common objective or the common goal of the organization. Now the next comes up, differentiation and integration. Now this, okay, let me explain it this way. Differentiation can be, is as the name says, we differentiate the process, we break the process into several parts, which is very much similar to the division of labor. So in a very abstract terms, division of labor can be considered as differentiation itself, while integration is like collecting several people's effort forming the organizational overall objective. So integration, yeah, to coordination, to very abstract way or to very rough level can be considered as integration, but it's not exactly. Now let's apply this concept to two different organizational structure, one hierarchical and other flat. So what is an hierarchical organization structure? A hierarchical organization structure is like a hierarchy of jobs. In a hierarchical organization structure, jobs are stacked up in a hierarchy. Some at each level there are jobs, and between the levels there are coordinators which coordinate the job within the level and between the level, up the level. So it's like a vertical structure where each level a particular level certain kind of task is done. Flat organization structure, on the other hand side, is a pool of jobs, is a pool or a collection of several jobs where there is no hierarchy existing as such. Every job is as equal to as any other job. So the difference between the two organization structure based on this can be explained as hierarchical organization structure is very much like follows the division of labor, because here a particular labor will be working on a particular work at a time, and hence it leads to specialization and special skill development or specific skill development of that particular labor. While as a flat organization is very much like a collection or rather pool of job. So in this case it's like jobs are very much not that well defined. Jobs are defined, but the roles are not very well defined in which a particular worker has to work. So it may be that somebody is working on particular job at a time, he may be working on similar another job at another time. So it's not very specialized or such kind of structure in a flat organization. Second is coordination. Now as there is a division of labor, as we explained earlier, so there must be coordination in case of a hierarchical organization structure, and it is quite evident. While as in case of flat organization structure, coordination is replaced by cooperation. In this, several jobs, workers working on several jobs cooperate among each other to attain the common goal, to attain the common objective. So cooperation replaces coordination in case of flat organization structure. Then comes the concept of differentiation and integration. Well, and flat organization structure can be more or less considered as an integrated structure, because here several job integrates to form the organization objective, while as in case of again the hierarchical structure, it is very much like differentiated, because we have seen division of labor analysis thing. Now coming to another question, the rational thinking. It comes in the decision making. So what actually is rational thinking? Well, rational thinking can broadly be divided into 4 parts. The first type of a rational thinking is problem recognition, or to recognize the problem, what the problem we are facing. This is the very first step in a rational thinking. In this step, what we actually do, we try to define the problem. We try to define our scope of the problem, what is actually we are facing, and what are our objective to achieve. So in problem recognition phase, we just question what is, or why, what are we going to do, and why are we going to do this, what is the reason, what is the problem basically we are trying to solve. This is what we deal in the first phase, that is of problem recognition. So relating rational thinking to the critical thinking toy, we can say that the first step was actually to understand what this toy actually is, what are we supposed to do with it. Just staring at that, this was the first question what came to any of our mind. What are we supposed to do, because it was some different looking toy standing all in front of us, and just we cannot relate what it is for. So we started questioning of what that particular toy is. Are we supposed to take the ring out, or are we supposed to take the planks into one side, or should the balls be at the same side? Why is that big shaft, there is a big wooden shaft on top of the toy, what is the reason? So this was the first step in which the problem was being recognized. Now the second phase is alternative generation. In alternative generation, for every problem recognized, we try to generate a solution. We try to give a particular description or a solution that this may be because of this, and this can be many solutions to a particular given problem. For example, among the questions what we asked, what are we supposed to do? Well, one answer came out that maybe we are supposed to take the ring out. This was the very obvious answer what came from most of us. So this was one of the alternatives. Another alternatives are, maybe suppose we are supposed to take the planks onto one side of the toy. So this was another alternative. Third was, maybe we are supposed to do something out of it, maybe to play around with just that toy. So such kind of alternatives got generated in the second phase. Third phase is to evaluate. The evaluation phase, we evaluate the alternatives what we generated in the second phase and see which of them are feasible. For example, one of the alternatives generated was that we are supposed to take the planks out of the toy. Now if we evaluate that option, it means that to take the planks out of the toy, we either need to break that string, or we need to untangle it so that we can take out the plank. Now it would mean tampering of the toy. Now it was very it was earlierly stated by sir that we cannot tamper out the toy, so this alternative was ruled out. So in this phase, we analyzed the various alternatives what we had, and the final decision was that all we can do is take the ring out of the toy. The final phase is to present the solution. So how are we going to take the ring out of the toy? This was presented, demonstrated in front of several students and by us and among us rather, and most of us try to repeat that particular solution. So it's like, once the solution is defined, we see whether it is repeatable or whether it can be applied to many times or not. So that completes the rational thinking phase. Well, the third question comes up of leadership and motivation. So what actually is leadership and what actually is motivation? Well, with help of a diagram, I like to explain. I don't know whether it's visible or not. Here, leadership and motivation. So leadership exerts, and a motivator or a follower follows it. What does leader actually try to exert is like leader try to inspire the people who are the people, and the people on the other hand side get motivated by the leaders. We can explain the concept of leadership